Welcome back to the Mosinee School District, students, staff, and parents. Thank you for being part of the 2021 school year. We're excited to have everybody back, and what you're about to see are all the different safety measures that we put in place for the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hello middle school parents, this is Brad Gruby, your middle school principal, coming to you today to talk about the new processes and procedures for the COVID-19 pandemic for the fall of 2021. Let's begin by talking about your child as they enter the building. The first thing you're going to notice is your child will be able to use multiple hand sanitizing stations throughout the building and at each entrance. The second thing that you'll notice is that in our hallways we have graphics on the floor that give kids a great indication of 6 feet apart as they move down the hallway. Our teachers are going to do a great job of telling your students to stay separate in the hall and also stay to the right in the hall as they move through to and from their lockers and classrooms. We will be allowing our students to take backpacks this school year. The reason for that is to limit the amount of stops at their lockers. Let's get into lunches. How are lunches going to look for your child this school year? Every teacher will be walking their class down to lunch. This will allow for our kids to continue to stay social distance and really slow down that process with the hustle and bustle down to the lunchroom. When the kids enter the lunchroom, we will still have the same floor graphics on the ground so that they stay 6 feet apart. They will migrate through the lunch line and go to their lunch tables. At every lunch table, you are going to see a purple dot that will designate a child's spot to separate them and social distance them while they eat. We also have overflow seating in the middle school gym to create more separation for our kids. Depending on where your child eats will depend on where they go outside for recess. When your child is outside for recess, they're going to be engaging in these socially distant appropriate activities. What that means is instead of having 10 kids in the gaga ball pit, we may have 5 or 3. And our recess supervisors are going to be monitoring that. Physical activity, again, is very important for our kids. At the beginning of the day, our grades 4 and 5 will be on the playground to start their day. So when they dismiss from the bus or come out of parent drop-off, they go straight to the playground and they're going to be able to play until the bell rings. Upon the whistle blowing, every class will have a designated spot where they line up 6 feet apart. Our teachers will then come down and be able to grab their kids and stagger their entrance into the building. This holds true then also for after lunch. Same process will be there where every class is staggered and they'll enter the building appropriately. Let's talk about masks. Kids are going to be using their masks throughout the building. A major part of this is going to be in the hallway. When kids use their mask in the hallway, it's going to allow them to move past one another and go through in a safe manner. Let's discuss what the hallway will look like a little bit more in detail. Again, 6 feet apart, following the graphics on the floor, and notice our students are going to stay to the right of the hallway, and that's going to be key as they move through to and from their classrooms. Notice that the kids still have their backpacks, they can go to and from their lockers, depending on where they need to go and when. One of the additions this school year is going to be that students are issued desk shield, very similar to how they're issued a Chromebook. Notice that this student takes his desk shield out of his locker and then takes it right to his class. This desk shield will travel with them from class to class and spot to spot as they need it. The desk shield provides another barrier for the student to work in kind of a cubicle type environment but still be able to participate in class. This is another barrier for our kids to be using during class time to stay safe. One of the great pieces of the middle school is that we have that secure entrance that we had put into the building last year. That secure entrance is going to play a vital part into this because one of the things that we are implementing this year is we're making sure that any visitor that comes into the building has been approved by administration. Now that doesn't mean, parents, that you have to get approval just to drop off your child's lunch. Please use the chute at the beginning, at the entrance of our building. Come into the chute. All you got to do is buzz our office staff. You'll be able to put the material into the chute and then be on your way. Any visitor that would like to come into the building will need approval by myself before they come in. For example, parent volunteers or outside groups, we will be making sure that administration approves those things before entering, again, trying to practice those social distancing and COVID-19 pandemic guidelines. At the beginning of the day, parents, we're asking you that you make sure you drop off your child after 7:40. This is going to allow our staggered starts to run a little bit more smooth. You can drop them off at the front of the building on High Street. You can also drop your child off in the back of the building by door 11. Either way is fine, and we'll have supervision on both ends. However, doing it after 7:40 is important because this allows for our staggered entrances into the building to accommodate social distancing. Parents, let's talk about busing. We're going to increase our staff outside to make sure that when kids are getting on the bus at the end of the day and getting off the bus, that they're staggered, staying 6 feet apart. And notice in this video that our kids are going to be moving 6 feet apart onto the bus. They go all the way to the back of the bus, take a seat, and load it from the back to the front. One child per seat, unless you're siblings, and then you can have 2 kids per seat because you're in the same household.
There are a few cafeteria procedures that are going to be in place this year. One of them being that we will be maintaining a 6-foot distance between students while they are waiting in line, and they will be washing and sanitizing their hands prior to eating. There will be no sharing of utensils, and hot lunch servers will be serving all the main entrees, and anything else will be prepackaged. Just a friendly reminder that any treat that is brought in that is intended for sharing needs to be prepackaged, store-bought, and contain an ingredient label.
Hi, my name is Sarah Gettle, and I'm our school nurse for the Mosinee School District. You will notice in the Skyward forms this year, there is a health screening form with our health measures attached. If you can review the health measures with your child, and please sign the form. You will only need to sign this form once for the beginning of the school year, but please screen your child with the screening questions every day before school. If you answer yes to any of the screening questions, please do not send your child to school and call your child's school. In our health measures, you will notice that we have increased hand sanitizing stations at all main entrances, common areas, and classrooms. We also will educate all staff and students on good hygiene practices and our health measures. If your child becomes sick at school, there will be an isolation room that your child will be placed and monitored. Please be prepared to pick your child up as soon as possible. Your child should not come to school if he or she has a fever over 100 degrees, vomiting or diarrhea, significant cough or continuous nasal drainage, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, significant headache or sore throat, new loss of taste or smell, muscle pain or chills, new skin rash that hasn't been evaluated by a physician, a contagious illness like strep throat, pink eye, or pertussis. Follow the treatment and return to school as recommended by provider, or if your child has been in close contact with a confirmed positive case of COVID-19. Follow the health department guidance on return to school.